Well, hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. And thank you so much for joining today's Data Plus Diversity event. Please drop in the chat where you're tuning in from. And if this is your first time joining one of these events, Data Plus Diversity is a series that provides a platform for community conversations surrounding the challenges and solutions to diversity in data. If you have to drop early, no worries, we have you covered. This session is being recorded and we'll share it with everyone after today's event. If you have any questions for our presenters today, please be sure to submit them using the Q&A function so that we can make sure to catch them. And please do continue to use the chat feature to engage and get to know each other. Oh my God, okay. Got people from all over the place in the US and different countries. I see that too. Nice. Nice. I see Panama, India, Colombia. Wow. Connecticut, Oregon, Arizona, Virginia. Nice. Mexico. Awesome. All right. So I'm so excited to be the host of today's Data Plus Diversity event. My name is Victor Calderon. I was born and raised in Guayaquil, Ecuador, and currently reside in Atlanta, Georgia, United States, where I work as a senior data analyst at Comcast Corporation. I have led the Latino Latinx employee resource group at my company for the last 4 years and has been recognized as a community leader for providing computer literacy classes to non-English speaking adults. I'm also co-founder and co-lead of Comuni Datos, a Latinx Tableau user group. More to come on that one later, which was created during the pandemic with a mission to conectar a la comunidad, which translates to connect the Latin community and provide opportunities for growth, learning, and influencing change. Lastly, I'm also a member of the Tableau Community Equity Task Force. You may probably hear ERG and BRG in our conversation today. And for those who don't know what that stands for, it's Employee Resource Group and Business Resource Groups. They are basically a voluntary employee-led group that foster a diverse and inclusive workplace. Now, as mentioned, this event is a celebration of Hispanic and Latin culture and heritage. Every year, we observe Hispanic Heritage Month from September 15 to October 15. This is primarily recognized across the Americas, where we celebrate the histories, cultures, contributions of US residents whose ancestors of whom themselves came from Latin America and or the Caribbean. Today, we are joined by a panel of Latinx and Hispanic community members who will share their journeys and offer their advice on how we can be better allies to the Hispanic and Latin community. At the conclusion of our event, I will also be sharing a bit more about the Latinx Tableau user group Community Datos and how to get involved in future initiatives and meetings. And now to introduce our wonderful panel, we have Daniela Sanchez. Daniela is originally from Colombia and moved to the US after getting a full scholarship to play college tennis at Dalton State. She graduated magna cum laude in Management Information Systems and Logistics and Supply Chain Management with a minor in Business Analytics. She's passionate about data, innovation, and strategy. Daniela is currently part of the Global Infrastructure Group at Google's, where she is responsible for networking testbeds and constraints management across the Google fleet. She also serves as the Executive Vice President of Operations for the ALFAS Association of Latinos Professionals for America, Atlanta board, while pursuing a Master's of Science in Analytics at Georgia Tech. We also have Felipe Ramirez. Felipe joined UPS in 1997 and has over 24 years of experience in information technology. He's currently a senior software quality engineer in Alpharetta, Georgia, leading the UPS IT healthcare automation testing team. In his role, he supports all UPS healthcare applications by providing automation solutions and infrastructure with regression, performance, and security testing. Felipe received the President's Volunteer Service Award from the White House in 2020, selected as Jim Casey Community Service Award 2019 UPS IT Regional Winner, and was selected as one of the Georgia Hispanic Chamber of Commerce 2019 50 most influential Latinos in Georgia. He's the former president of ALFAS, which I just mentioned, Association of Latinos Professionals for America, Atlanta Professional Chapter from 2017 to 2021. He is a member of the HSF, Hispanic Scholarship Fund, Atlanta Advisory Council since the year 2015, and he co-founded Crecer, the UPS Latino Hispanic BRG in 2012. We also have Ruy. Ruy grew up in Guayaquil, Ecuador, completed his undergraduate studies at Purdue University, and currently lives in Atlanta, Georgia. His career journey has made him a purple analytics leader. That's in the middle between the business and the tech fields. He has been in audit, finance, operations, and enablement roles, continuously leveraging data and to extract insights. He has been co-founder and leader of Hispanic Employee Resource Groups, Company Analytics COEs, and Tableau user groups. He is a co-founder and leader of Comuni Datos, the Latino Hispanic Tableau user group, and the FinServe Talk. He currently holds the role of Tableau Evangelist at Kairos, a Tableau Premier Partner, where he gets to learn and share his passions for Tableau with co-workers and clients. He's passionate about data and analytics and continually seeks opportunities to contribute to the data fund. Now, I'm really happy to have you all here today. Daniela, Felipe, Ruy. Let's start with the first questions. And the first one is going to be for you all. And my question will be, can you share a little bit more about yourself and your journey on how you got to where you are today? And I guess we'll start with Daniela, ladies first.
Yeah, I can start. So a little bit about my background. I am from Bucaramanga, Colombia. I grew up in Colombia and got a scholarship to play tennis in the US. I went to school in Dalton State College, played tennis there for 4 years, and also majored in information systems. I've always been super passionate about technology and information. So that was definitely the career I wanted to take. And also majored in supply chain. It was a new degree at the school I went to, so did both majors and a minor in analytics. And I've been working in analytics ever since. Really, I've been more focused on data. I started my first role at Shaw Industries, which is a Berkshire Hathaway company, largest carpet manufacturer in the world, and worked there in logistics. I did a lot of technology projects, a lot of analytics for distribution centers. So I was using both of the majors I studied. It was a really great first job for me, a lot of opportunities and challenges as well that I had to overcome. But so far, I got a great experience and joined Alpha Atlanta thanks to Felipe here. So we've been working in Alpha Atlanta, a nonprofit organization. I've been part of it for 6 years since I was a student. Then went in the professional chapter, and after that, I met someone in our board who told me about this opportunity at Google, which I wasn't really looking for, but I gave it a try and got a job at Google, which it was amazing. It's been the best experience of my life, really. I've been there for 2.5 years, started as a contractor, and then became full-time, and started working in machine learning deployments for infrastructure, technical infrastructure for the Google Cloud, and several PAs, internal PAs. Worked there for 2 years, and I recently started a job as a technical program manager where I manage all the test beds and constraints for the Google fleet.
Awesome, Daniela. Thank you for sharing. What about you, Felipe? Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got where you are right now.
You're muted.
Yes. Just to mute it, Felipe.
Felipe, you're muted. We cannot hear you.
Okay. Now can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. So I'll make it quick. I mean, people can read my bio more in detail, but basically, I studied UPS, like you mentioned, 1997. And how I got to UPS, I will share a little bit about it. I actually I wanted to go to school, and at the time I didn't know I could afford it. So then I went. I needed to work back in that time, and my family needed money, right? So I just went to retail. I became a manager in retail, and things changed. And all of a sudden, something opened up. I was able to go to a technical school, and going through a technical school, I started working in a pizzeria, and all of a sudden the manager, the owner's wife, she happened to be the manager at UPS, and I told her I was studying technology, and she actually got me in UPS as at the help desk, which is one of the entry level positions for IT, right? And once I got into UPS, I worked shift work. Then I got little by little, I got promoted, became joined the management positions, and worked in pretty much 4 business units already. I worked from operations to Little Airlines. I worked and now I work for supply chain solutions. And the last 4 years, I joined the healthcare side of supply chain solutions. So that's what I do now. I work in the healthcare side. So so this is my 25th year at UPS. And and also I will say that through those years at UPS actually paid for my college, so I was able to get a degree through UPS. So you never know where the opportunities come. You definitely want to always keep your eyes open, and that's what happened to me. But and of course, my volunteer side from Crescero, which is in my background, is my passion, and I'm sure we'll talk more about it in this call.
Awesome, amazing. 25 years, Felipe. Wow, that's a long time. Hey, now I'm gonna let Ruy tell us a little bit about his story. Ruy.
Thank you, Victor. Yeah, my story is very different than Felipe's. I would say it's not very common. I would say to see like long careers that much anymore. So it's definitely something that you should be proud of. But I studied hospitality at Purdue University, and my first job was at working for Marriott. But I'm very curious. I love to learn. I love to do like a lot of different things. And when I started with Marriott, I started like looking at other opportunities. So I started in the front office, then worked in finance, and then I ended up having to move back home. And I changed industries, and I started seeing some of those commonalities around like how data drives a lot of the decisions by starting to work in the hospitality industry with finance, for example, and understanding what the kind of bottom line and revenue and cost look like, and how different decisions were impacting those numbers from different departments, etc. So once I started in the automotive industry, I worked on audit, finance as well, and I started getting closer to the commercial side. And I got an opportunity to switch careers again, or switch industries again. And I came back to the States and started working for Sony Mobile. So another industry, and same thing. So I've worked in a couple of different industries and different companies, and have been able to learn quite a bit around understanding the business cases around how to leverage data. And it's interesting for me because a lot of people that I talk to through the work we do with Comuni datos, or the things that we're trying to accomplish, not everyone gets to really be where they want to be sometimes, and they think that they should have studied something, or they should have done something early in their careers. And I'm an example that's not always the case. Opportunities kind of come in different in different ways sometimes. And my career to get to where I am in data right now, where I really like it and enjoy it, took me a while to figure out, but I finally kind of got to get there through a very unconventional path. So I'm happy to now work for Kirus, and I'm doing consulting, leveraging a lot of what I learned through all of these different industries that I worked. I get to work with a lot of different clients and see a lot of different things, and help those clients answer questions with data and better utilize their data assets. So it's been quite a journey, but I've loved it.
Awesome, Ruben. And I know your story from close because we work together on Comuni Datos, so I know what you're talking about when you talk about your unconventional path. But
Yeah.
but hey, I got another questions, and please feel free to any of you answer this question. Like, do you see any myth or misconceptions from those outside of the Hispanic community? What is that have you seen? What is that have you perceived from people outside of our community?
I can take that one. So yeah, a lot of misconceptions. I grew up in Latin America, so it's very different when you grow up here or when you grow up there. So once you get here, I went to school in North Georgia, so there's not a lot of diversity there. So we definitely need a lot of education. I remember telling people I was from Colombia, and they would say, "Oh, South Carolina," like they wouldn't even think about South America. So also, like people think that when you talk about Latinos, you're talking about Mexicans, and we're so diverse. Something that I've loved from living in the U.S. is learning from all the Latin cultures. I'm currently in Miami, and it's amazing to see here how much you learn from others. And we are all Latinos and Hispanic, but we have a lot of differences as well, which it's great to learn.
Absolutely, absolutely. I have my own experiences as well. Being a Latino in places where there's not too many of us really. So yeah, I can definitely understand that as well. Um, Now, I'm gonna ask this one, and I know you all are really passionate about ERGs and the BRGs, and this might be probably a combined questions. Um, why is a BRG or ERG an important to you? I mean, and tell me that at the same time, how has this actually helped you in your careers or personal lives? Tell me a little bit more about the ERGs, BRGs, and why is it important to be part of one? You're muted, Felipe.
You're muted.
I keep talking and mute, right? I just want to make sure I have no backgrounds for anybody here. But yeah, like in my background, I'm very proud of the BRG as a co-founder of the UPS BRG. Actually, this is our 10th year as a BRG. And I will say that, even though I've been in UPS 25 years, I did not get involved with anything in my company, not even volunteer in a single event for 15 years. And I just literally came to work, did my job, and went back home. And not until this BRGs started happening, they started with the women's group, and then African American, and then Asian American, and then all of a sudden say, okay, there's a Latino BRG getting started here in Georgia. At the time, I was in New Jersey. And says, well, there's definitely more Latinos here in New Jersey. We should definitely get something here, right? Get something going here. And I basically that kind of like I don't know what happened really, but it kind of woke me up, I guess, and started looking back on the opportunities I had as a teenager in high school, where I didn't know if I was going to go to college and all that. And of course, my parents were immigrants, and I was an immigrant myself, and this was not much opportunities. And when I started looking at what the BRG can do for the company, but also what can do for the community, to connect with the community, I was like, we need more professionals that are already incorporated to share the message across the community. So that was my main focus. And of course, start learning more about what BRG is, where we had, started connecting with businesses, started connecting with, helping employees and connecting employees across business units. It became more than that, right? It became an opportunity where, you get to meet people that you will never ever will work with together, right? And then and you get to learn about the organization more and more. And especially moving here to Georgia, where UPS corporate is here in Georgia. I got to connect with executives. C-level executives, which is almost very hard to meet, right? At any corporation, right? You don't get this chance to meet with executives at that level. So it's been an incredible experience overall. That every year, even though it's been 10 years now, it's still something. What else we're going to do next, right? It's just we want to keep growing, as our name called Crecer, which means to grow. That's why we named it Crecer, because we want to continue growing,
Great. So almost half of your career at UPS, have you also devoted your time to ERGs and all that? That's great. That's amazing. I've been 4 years, and I feel that's kind of like another another career, another job that I have on my shoulders. So, oh wow, that's great. Now, let's see. I'm sorry. Said
Victor, I just wanted to add something to that as well, because I feel that ERGs do a lot for for the community and for others as well. But some of the things that I also was looking at in terms of data, and you can just Google these things and you'll start kind of seeing some of what's going on as well in terms of Latinos and employment. And the reality is that when we build these groups, like, we start connecting with people and we start helping each other out as well. And I did this Google search, I think a couple of days ago, as I was kind of looking at some data points that I could throw, and I saw that there's an article from the Washington Post saying that through the pandemic, Latinos were twice as likely to lose their jobs, right? And I've been there in the past, and it's extremely hard to navigate that and to figure things out. But when you start building those connections, it can help you in so many ways, right? And that's how I've met Felipe, and how I met you, Victor, through ERGs, and not only in the company that you are with, but also outside with other companies. As you start to network, you can meet a lot of people, and these people are moving, right? They're taking other roles, they're growing their careers. So you never know when that person can help you and say, hey, I have something for you, would you be interested? So I feel that there's a lot that that goes into that part, that we always need to think about, because unfortunately we live in a world where sometimes corporations will go through transitions, and we want to help each other out. So I just wanted to call that out as well, because I think it's a great benefit of what we do, or what we have done.
yeah, I
I would
completely
like
agree.
to add something else. And people always ask me, like, how did you get to Google? And I really always tell them, like, it's not about what you know, but who you know. So through ERGs, you can meet a lot of people. You can get tremendous visibility in your company. Right now, I'm part of 2 ERGs at Google, and it's a lot of work. I have to disclosure that you do all your work and then you finish and then you need to do more work. But it's so rewarding, it's so worth it, because you get to meet amazing people that will always help you throughout your career, and you can also help others. So it's great to serve others, to serve the community, And going back to the previous questions about the misconceptions, that's a way you can educate people. With Hispanic Heritage Month, there's a lot of panels we can be part of and include others and teach them about our culture. So there are so many opportunities that I would always recommend anyone to join a ERG to become a leader there. Some people, it's not their nature, but it really helps you to grow your career.
Absolutely. And this question came directly for Felipe. We have Saavedra Flores, asking, how did, let me see, Felipe, how did your ERG begin to prompt HR to ensure all levels of the Latinx population is represented at all HR programs?
Number one, I mean, ERGs, I mean, at UPS, and I'm sure probably most corporations, is employee-led, right? The HR or the foundation, depending on the company, will provide you like some guidelines, of course. But at the end of the day, HR cannot be specific to an affinity, right? So that's why BRGs have the opportunity to say, I want to do something for Latinos, right? So now, what we did at the beginning is we started with 3 people in New Jersey and like about 5 or 6 people in corporate. Now, in corporate, we had a vice president that was a sponsor. So first you need to have a sponsor, somebody at the, I guess, executive senior levels of the organization to help you, I guess, open those doors. So HR and other business units will listen, right? And make sure you have a good strategy, because at the end of the day, a BRG, and UPS, we call it BRG because it's a business resource, right? We want to use the employees to help the business, and everything that we do in our BRG is to help the business. So by helping employees, we're helping the business. By helping the community, show that UPS cares, we're helping the business, and think we're helping the Hispanic businesses, right, to help UPS grow. So if you focus on that and make sure you have somebody don't have to be a Latino executive, but somebody at the executive level that will be able to sponsor or advise you, create that group and say, I want to help the organization. So it's not about what is for you, but it's what's for the organization. And then at the end of the day, it will help you, it will help everybody, and will help the community. So definitely, I will say, have a good sponsor, have a good strategy, and then start connecting with people in the organization to work together.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of difficult. It's kind of difficult sometimes when they kind of like see you as a number, and not really looking at, your whole talent and, your background and your experience and all those things. Yeah.
Yeah, and something that I'll share really quickly is back in 10 years ago, when BRGs got started, it used to be led by, you either had to be a senior manager or a director level to lead a BRG. And I was the first person, non-manager at the time, that led the BRG. And my director, which I never met and ever, called me to his office and say, he asked me, are you going to be able to lead a BRG? I say, yes, I will. And it will be the best BRG at UPS. And then and we did. We became the best BRG at UPS. And now other BRGs, learn from us. So that's something. And I'm not talking about just me, but overall, we have amazing leaders that have taken over the years, and they keep making it better and better. So it's about you, and not because it's never done before, you're not gonna do it. Always try to do it if you think it's right and it's gonna help the organization.
Yeah, Felipe, that's exactly what I was gonna say. And you don't have to be a manager or have a title to be a leader, right? Those are 2 different things. And I would say, if there's no structure, a lot of these groups, right, they don't have the same support. And in some companies that are bigger than others, they might have some sort of structure, but if there's no structure, it's just having the the courage to have those conversations, because a lot of the times, especially with big companies, you don't, like, you can go to HR, they're not going to give you the information. They're going to tell you, look, like, here are all the Latino leaders in the company, like, go and they have their door open, go and talk to them. They're never going to do that, right? But you start connecting to the community and maybe doing some things and inviting some people, and then you start finding out that there are other Latinos and people out there that are willing to help. And that's when you start having those conversations, and you say, hey, if you have a minute, let's talk, right? And I think that's kind of the part that a lot of people wait for, like, give me the direction. I would say more than that, if you feel you're a leader and you have the courage, just go for it and start having the conversations and start building your network inside the company and finding where those people are. And they're always 99% of the time they're gonna tell you, hey, I love what you're doing, how can I help?
Yep.
Yeah,
I agree. I think we all have experienced some sort of that at a certain level. I want to shift this this other question to like kind of like a different approach to something else. Why is it important to consider minority groups in data analysis? Tell me probably an example or something. What would you think that it is really important to consider minority groups in data analysis?
I
can
give
take
you.
that one.
Go ahead.
Okay,
Daniela.
go ahead, Ruy.
Okay, let me give you my quick example of one of the things that I like to do on previous roles. What I was noticing a lot is there's these desire now to create more equity, right, in the companies, and to start like looking at the numbers and looking at what the data is telling you. And what I used to find is that when people were sharing those numbers, they weren't good, right? That was the first thing. They weren't good. But I also found that Latinos were not even sometimes showing on those numbers at all, and they were focusing on other groups, right? And that's fine to a certain extent, where you kind of want to start somewhere. But I used to have these conversations with people that were working on people analytics, where I felt that depending on how you look at it, they could be hiding something. And I don't mind if the numbers are bad, because a lot of the numbers are bad. And for a lot of the groups, they're very bad. And some of the best companies in the world still have like very bad numbers. But at least being transparent about it shows that you have nothing to hide, and then making the commitment to do something about it, right? So those were the conversations that, for example, I used to have with the people analytics team, to say, why don't you just share those numbers, and let's just work on making the commitment to make that better. But let's just share those numbers so that people don't think you're hiding something. And then we kind of already know, like, based on percentages, what these could look like. So we have something to work towards, and we can identify talent, and we can say, okay, well, we don't have enough people in leadership places, right? Let's change that, right? We have, I don't know, like 10% of our employees are Latinos, but only, I don't know, 2% are in leadership roles compared to the rest of the groups, right? So how do we change that? How do we make that better? But that's kind of one of the areas that I think we need to be a bit more transparent about, for all the groups, not just for Latinos, because there were other groups as well in there that were not, we're not showing.
Yeah, I wanted to add that we definitely need minorities, and not only in data, but everywhere. It's been demonstrated that a diverse group give better results when it comes to decision making. Because we all have different ways to see problems, and especially at Google, we do a lot of recruiting for diversity. It's a very diverse place, which I love, but we're working towards also bringing more Latinos, specifically in data. And what I was sharing with the panel earlier is that I recently learned that, specifically in Colombia, there are 10 times more lawyers than computer science majors. So it starts from college, it starts with high school, and we all should be committed and really share all the opportunities we have in data, because we really need to improve those numbers in all our companies. And I feel we should have a commitment and we have a responsibility to bring others and help our community and bring more Latinos and Hispanics and all minorities to the diverse world.
Yeah, and I think that also
Really,
that.
I'm very biased towards. Sorry.
And that thing that also, goes depending, I guess, I guess not only the company, also kind of goes, hand in hand with the department that you work for. Like, I mean, marketing, for example. So we do look at, these minorities, for example, right? I mean, we constantly be looking at these minorities, they're, kind of like the penetration ratios and all that, all those different details. We keep on looking on a monthly basis. Even now, that with the hurricane, we are kind of like looking at a specific, zip codes and areas. And even that we're looking at that, we also be looking at these other minorities that we're talking about. I know it doesn't make any sense, but, they're looking at these specific pieces as well. Now, let's talk.
I was just going to say really quickly. I mean, I'm not an analytics guy. I'm more a software testing automation guy. But in the BRG, we've done a lot of things about numbers and teaching the organization about culture and let them know that, when approaching a Latino community, and we are different colors, different flavors, and there should be they need to start. Literally, the BRG had to teach them and help them to make sure that they're not focusing on one particular group when they're talking to a Latino community. And depends on what part of the country they could be is different, right? And specifically websites, commercials, and ads and things like that. So I mean, I'm not a marketing guy, but definitely there's somebody at UPS in marketing skills that that we work with, and now they actually, every time they do something major, they will actually come to our BRG and they say, hey, what do you think of this? So they get, at least they ask for our opinion, which is pretty cool. Yeah.
Wow. So continue talking about the data analysis piece. Can you share any challenges you have had as a Latino in the data world?
I can start with that one. Yeah, many challenges as a Latina in the data world specifically. When it comes to minorities, in my case, I'm the youngest in my team. So I work with different generations. I am a woman. I'm the only woman in my team as well. So it's not only one minority, but three minorities that I'm part of in this case, also as a Latina. So a lot of challenges. First, I know we also have another question here about imposter syndrome. So I wanted to talk on that because sometimes you feel like out of place. No one looks like you. And that's why BRGs are really important, because that's when you really connect with the community. You meet people who've gone through the same challenges you have been. So that's really important to join the BRG. And if you can't, there was another question about other organizations that you can join outside of work. The executive VP of operations for Alpha Atlanta, which is Alpha Association of Latino Professionals for America, an organization that anyone can join. You can create your free account there, and we do a lot of events for professional development, a lot of community events, networking. So really, just what I would always recommend to overcome those challenges that a lot of us have had, and not only in the data world, but anywhere in the US. I feel when you don't grow up here and you have a lot of challenges for the language, studying for that. Like when I came here 9 years ago, I barely spoke English, so that was the first challenge I had. Um, So really getting to meet people through organizations like Alpha, like I was mentioning, is something that I always recommend. Take the time, take that extra hour, volunteer, help the community, connect with others, and that will help you tremendously to overcome all of these challenges that we all face.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think the reality is that for all minority groups, right? I tend to I've read a couple of things about how to, you know, allow people to be part of these conversations, right? And when you have a meeting, like make sure that you're listening to everyone and bringing in all of the different perspectives. And I think when it comes to data, sometimes it can be a little bit harder because you are like you're very factual around what's happening, right? You already got the analysis and you're very factual about it. And there are a lot of like there are a lot of books that talk about certain things and certain bias around the data and certain things that you always have to watch out for, right? So I always kind of come back to people and say, ask questions. Like if you don't understand something, or if you just don't feel like something is right, just speak up and ask questions and just keep on asking questions, because the reality is that, to me, data is one thing, but looking at now artificial intelligence and all of these different things, and looking at examples of how these can be challenging when the data is already biased against certain groups, right? You just want to do what's best, and when you ask those questions, you just go to, you know, more analysis until you find if it's really working or not. So being part of a minority group allows you to have that other perspective, whatever that minority group is. And if you just don't speak up and don't have the courage, you're not making things better for that company. So it is one of those things that I would encourage people to just make sure that they have those conversations, make sure that they build that courage, make sure that you work with someone, your mentor, whoever that person is. These groups, like Daniela said, like Alpha, like how can I have these conversations? If that's what you're experiencing, like how can I make it so that I start building that courage so that I can speak up and come to those meetings and say whatever I need to say.
Yeah, and just to add a couple of things about what Ruy and Daniela said is, I mean, I didn't know when the BRG got created where the BRG will grow where we are now, which is unbelievable. We have chapters all over the world now. And thanks to the BRG, I was able to connect with the community. Thanks to the BRG, I was able to join Alpha and became a leader at Alpha. And what I tell people is you could lead a BRG, which is an amazing opportunity, and then join a nonprofit and lead a nonprofit. It's like next level, right? And the connections that you make is unbelievable. I mean, me not being from Georgia and able to, you know, meet the governor, meet the mayor, meet the incredible leaders across the state, meet corporate executives from all over the state. I mean, unbelievable, right? I mean, and then connecting, you know, how do they actually operate it, and learn from those organizations and what things can apply in my company and my BRG. It's just priceless, right? So taking the time to support and volunteer, you never know what you learn from. So it's incredible.
Yeah, I completely agree with you all on that. I know we still have like more questions in the queue, but there's one that I didn't really wanna skip, and that was, can you tell us what better allyship looks like to you? What do you think that we can do or can tell people, you know, like how can they become better allies to our community or any other communities?
I mean, definitely something that is very, very important. If you want to grow and you want to have a good perspective of what the community in general or needs, you need to connect with other organizations that are different, right? So working with the African American community or Asian American community, or if you are, in technology, work with the finance community, learn from what's going on. So it's always good. I mean, I'm not saying that you're gonna change careers, but it's always good to learn from other groups and be involved and connect with, and even better, if you could join some of those organizations. They're always looking for diverse boards, right? It could be a Asian organization, and you could join that board, and they're always looking for diverse board members. And why not be part of that? And that's, I think that's what I call next level representation. And I think we need more of that.
Completely agree.
Yeah, I have a story about that as well, which kind of was the light bulb in my head. I used to do a bit of work with the DNI board at Intercontinental Hotels Group, and because of that, I got to like meet all of the leaders for all of the ERGs, and there was one time where they invited me to an event for they had a bunch of events for women during a week, and they had a panel, and they invited some of the leaders for that panel, and just happened to be that I was the only male on the panel, and it was the entire room was probably like 400 women in there, and I felt so nervous and so out of place, kind of like the imposter in the room. And the first thing that when people ask me like these type of questions, the first thing that I said is like I just don't. I think that that if I can get over this is exactly the what you need to do. Like, you need to be an ally. You kind of need to feel comfortable around all of these groups, any of those groups, understand them, ask questions. Like, there's a lot that you need to learn to be able to feel comfortable, and that's kind of what what I always remember when I'm like I feel out of place, right? And in a setting like that, because it's really what, like, we're all different, and we just need to always be welcome with each other, and that to me is like the definition of a good ally, right? Like, you can be a good person. It doesn't really matter if what minority you are, or what color your skin is, or anything like that, right? Like, it's just being comfortable, getting to know these people, asking them questions. Like, those are the things that come to mind.
Yes, absolutely, Ruy. Now, we don't have much time for more questions, but if you do have one, please feel free to put it on chat on the Q&A section. If we don't have an opportunity to answer those questions, we most likely we're gonna reply to those questions to you directly as well. So please feel free to ask any questions that you may have. Now I want to talk to you about Comuni datos. I think I mentioned that earlier. And I told Ruy when he joined the meeting, hey, I was waiting for a surprise. I want to surprise our audience with a share that says datos, right? And I know there's some compliments. Some people have said, hey, I want the same share, which is really cool and all that. And I was waiting just to present my share, but now it's been spoiled. But still, I'm just gonna show it because I think it's a really, really cool share as well. Hopefully you can all see it. And that's kind of like the logos of Comuni datos that we have. But now let me tell you what Comuni datos is, okay? Which again, I mentioned that earlier. And I said also that I happen to co-lead this with Ruy. Ruy is actually the mastermind behind Comuni datos. He is the founder, along with other amazing professionals and data lovers that we have. This Tableau user group just marked its second year anniversary last month. So woohoo, a group created during the pandemic under a virtual environment, giving access to more people around the world. Our leaders reside in different places, the UK, Colombia, Atlanta, Miami, Orlando. And our audience join us mostly from all the Americas and some from the European Union. We are honored to have in our group, former and current visionaries, ambassadors, and most important, we have people willing to help others. Okay, I think that's most important than any other title or anything else that you may have. Our goal when this was created, and it still is to connect basically, Tableau users and the Latinx community. For what? To learn, to grow, to help each other. We believe that we need a world with more equality. If you want to find us, and I'm not really sure if we have that ready, but you can find us in a Slack, you can find us on LinkedIn, Twitter, Medium, and very soon we'll be officially launching our own website. And I think better than me, it will be probably Ruy who can add, more highlights of our group. So I'm gonna let you, Ruy, talk a little bit about Comuni Datos as well.
Thank you, Victor. Yeah, no, I could not have done this without you, Victor, by the way. So I mean, we both kind of started these, and of course, without the help of Tableau along the way, especially at the beginning, and then finding these amazing leaders that we got to find very quickly. And yeah, it's been an amazing story with Comuni Datos. And I'll just tell you something very quick that I was very, very impressed on, because when we started the group, the first meeting we had was in English. And one of the things and one of the misses that we had was not knowing exactly what the size of the opportunity could look like with Latin America. And that's when on the second meeting, I remember going, Alisa was actually helping us out at that point in time. And I remember that I asked her, hey, can we market these throughout Latin America? Can we just, send an email or something to just let people know that we're going to do these in Spanish the second time? And it was pretty incredible, because when we released that email and we sent that email, it was a weekend, and I was watching one of my kids play soccer on a tournament, and my phone started blowing up, and it was all of the people that were subscribing to the event, and there were like hundreds and hundreds of people that were subscribing to this event. And it was our first meeting. And now, we've done this every month. And, someone was asking about other places where you can connect with people and build your career. And this is one of them. Granted, it's in Spanish. We wanted to do something for Latin America as well. But, if you're more than welcome to join us. We have people from the US as well, and from all over the world. It's a virtual group. We have meetings every month, and that's what we're there for. So if you're in data analytics career, a lot of what we talk about is Tableau. So of course, if you're in this meeting, you probably are using Tableau as well. So we learn, we help each other, we answer questions, and the people that we have there are amazing. We've had amazing speakers, built amazing connections. We're working on initiatives outside of what we do every month as well. Like right now, we're working with a professor in Monterrey, in the Tecnológico de Monterrey, and we're trying to build something there. And all of this is kind of to the point that Daniela said as well, like getting more Latinos into this type of career, and promoting and motivating people to continue that path and helping them out. So, and Tableau does a great job of recognizing community efforts and community leaders. So it's more of us doing the work of socializing that message and sharing the great programs that you have available, and and the feedback that we get is incredible. That's what really I think all of us, like maybe Felipe and Daniela, you have experienced these too. But when someone comes to you and tells you, look, I found this next job because of joining this group or doing this thing that you helped me out, or it's just like the feeling is incredible. You kind of get addicted to it. So we love Comunidatos.
Yep. Thanks, Ruy. And as we wrap things up today, and I want to go back to the last question and combine this with with Comunidatos as well. Remember the question, what can you tell us better to be better allyship looks like to you? And there are multiple ways you can help and become an ally. Just think about for a moment, like you can promote events in your network. You probably don't know everybody on your network and their background, so they might probably will be willing to be part of another type of group where they speak their own language, for example. Sharing your opportunities. I know the language you speak is important at your workplace, but I know people whose English is not their primary language and they are thriving in what they do. Sometimes the only thing that they need is just an opportunity. So think about that. Also be open to explore different point of views, people with different backgrounds and experiences have different approaches and perspectives to solve different situations. And this might sound a little crazy, but sharing content to be translated, and or even better, if you can translate it yourself, oh my God, that will be amazing. Now, even if you know little or no Spanish at all, just think about it. This might probably open doors for you to learn a new language, for example. Think about Spanish, think about German, or any other language that you might probably feel more comfortable with. And with that said, I want to thank you again, our panelists, Daniela, Felipe, and Ruy, for sharing their experiences, and to our audience for tuning in. So see you soon. Until next time. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Thank you,
Thank you so
Victor.
much for the
Yes,
invitation.
Gracias.